Sebastian, Colombia.
Thank you for once again welcoming us here for the fourth year of the partnership between you, your office, and the U.S. Institute of Peace. And we have here with us today 26 youth leaders from 12 different conflict-affected countries. And that means over the 4 years, we've now brought 106 youth leaders from 19 different conflict-affected countries. So we thought we would start by letting everybody introduce. Yeah, I will. Who they are. So if we could start by just going around the room so you know who's here with us today. Arik?
I think, let me say a few words. For me, the best way to introduce is a human face. As soon as I saw one living being with two eyes, this nose, human face, then I immediately feel we are the same human being. I don't care what is your country or your belief. But these are secondary. I think young children, you see, so long, you see, they play together with smile. They don't care what is their background, isn't it? So I'm acting like a child. That's much better. There is sufficient reason. We have too much emphasis on differences, including religious faith, and nationality, color. It creates more problem, more division, isn't it? Huh? So, such sort of situation, the only remedy is we must go deeper level. We are same human being. Mentally, emotionally, or physically, we are same. So I'm trying to promote sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. So, okay, each introduction, I think generally important, but for me not important. Okay.
That's a wonderful start. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you, Your Holiness. My name is Arik Mawien from South Sudan. Happy to be here.
Your Holiness, my name is Damilola Babatunde from Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Hello, my name is Alta Wu. I am from Myanmar.
Yemen.
Myanmar.
Burma. Myanmar.
My name is Dalia Marquez, global citizen from Venezuela.
Venezuela.
My name is Bawar Yahya from Kurdistan of Iraq.
Iraq.
My name is Idris Tajik from Afghanistan.
From
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
My name is Ferial Harbi and I'm from Tunisia, Tunis.
Tunisia.
My name is Rawan Khalfallah from Libya.
Libya.
Your Holiness, my name is Tunde Ogunyale from Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Your Holiness, my name is Firas Khair from Syria.
Syria.
Your Holiness, my name is Soumya Agarwal and I am from India.
Right.
My name is Tariq from Libya.
From
Libya.
Libya.
No. My name is Tahani Irshi, and I'm from Syria.
Syria.
My name is Qasem Neja, and I'm from Tunisia.
Tunisia. Tunisia.
Your Holiness, my name is Lorena Gomez. I'm from Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah.
I'm Steve. I'm from Australia.
His Holiness, my name's Cherry. I came from Myanmar, Burma.
Burma.
His Holiness, my name is Sebastian Huertas from Colombia.
Your Holiness, my name is Paula Ito from South Sudan.
South Sudan.
Your Holiness, my name is Luis from Venezuela.
His Holiness, my name is Luisa from Colombia.
Colombia.
Your Holiness, my name is Rebecca Baranya from South Sudan.
Your Holiness, my name is Hein Pain Tuchit, or Hein from Myanmar, Burma.
Burma.
My name is Rebecca. I'm from Nigeria.
My name is Ingrid. I'm from the United States.
I'm Libby from the U.S.
My name is Sarah from Lebanon.
Lebanon.
My name is Allison from the United States.
My name is David Young from the United States.
My name is Naomi, and I'm from Nigeria.
Your Holiness, my name is Ahmed. I'm from Somalia.
Your Holiness, my name is Mariam. I'm from Iraq.
Your Holiness, my name is Achu from South Sudan.
Your Holiness, my name is Victor Ochen. I'm from Uganda.
Hi, my name is Eva, and I'm from the United States.
Iraq. Iran.
United States.
Oh.
My name is Liz Callahan. I'm from the United States.
So we have our youth leaders, we have our thought leaders with us. Hello? Is it on? Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. So we have our youth leaders and our thought leaders with us, and our team from the U.S. Institute of Peace. But before we begin, I would like to first give a special thanks to Mr. Abhimanyu, who is here with us from the Indian Liaison Office to His Holiness from the External Affairs Division of the Indian government. Your help has been invaluable in enabling this program, and all of us have enormous thanks for your support and your efforts, and we'd like to give you a small token of our appreciation with many, many thanks. Yeah. Your Holiness, each of these young leaders comes from a country that has been affected by violence and by conflict. And each of them has chosen to become a leader for peace in their countries and in their communities. And we know from past years that this opportunity to be with each other and to be in this dialogue with you has been very important for giving them the inner peace and resilience that enables them to continue doing this work in very difficult circumstances. So we very much welcome this opportunity for this conversation. As you and I discussed 5 years ago, this is very core to the work of the U.S. Institute of Peace, which was founded as an independent, nonpartisan national institute with a vision of a world without violent conflict. And I know that's very close to your vision of a century without violent conflict. I'd like to welcome those who are watching online. My name is Nancy Lindborg. I'm the president of the U.S. Institute of Peace. And we thought we would divide the 2 days into 4 topics that enable us to have a conversation about some of the issues that are so important to the work of all of these youth leaders. And the 4 topics are building bridges in divided communities.
A bridge. Oh.
Yeah. Inclusive peace, how to be inclusive in divided societies, peace education, and resilience after displacement. And these are all areas where I know they have interest in hearing your experience and your counsel as they continue to do this work. So we're very grateful for this opportunity to have this conversation. And so I thought that it would be good if we could begin, Arak, with you.
Your Holiness, I am Arik from South Sudan, and I'm a product of conflict. I was born in a country that is divided along tribal lines. And I experienced the conflict personally. My village was attacked by a tribe, and my mother was killed. I left the village, and I went ahead, I trained, and I became a medical doctor. Now I have returned to my community, and I am running a clinic at the border between my tribe, the tribe that killed my mother. The tribe that killed my mother and my own tribe. In the clinic, my own people are asking me, how can you treat the people that kill your mother? They are telling me to stop helping them. They are telling me to join them so that we continue to fight. But I don't feel that in my heart. I don't feel somebody else has to go through what I went through. So, Your Holiness, being here is a big thing for me. And what I would ask, what ideas, what thoughts do you have? What words of encouragement can you give me to work together with my own tribe so that we can bridge the gap that exists between my own tribe and the tribe that killed my mother? That's the question I would like to ask you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sad story.
So maybe we'll take a few comments because this opening conversation on bridging divides, all of these youth leaders are working in countries that are driven with divides that have created conflict. So Arik just talked about the hate between the 2 tribes. Can we ask you to be next?
Hello, good morning, His Holiness. I am from Myanmar. I am now working as the medical officer, as well as the interfaith dialogue between the different religious groups in the Yangon and the Sakai region. As you know, Burma is now in the democratic transition stage. Our national government is trying to solve the conflict, long-term conflict between ethnic group and the military, but not achieved yet because international pressure and the nationalism group. I realize that most of the conflict is caused by the hate speech between the community, society. While I'm working in the medical field, most of the conflict is caused by the hate speech and the rumor between the Rakhine and the Bengali group. As you know, 2016 and 2017, in the Myanmar Bengali conflict between the Rakhine ethnic group and the Bengali group, more severe and severe, more began the violence. How do you think about how to reduce the hate speech among the different ethnic religious groups in the Myanmar, and also as you hear, one-sided international news is described about the Bengali issue for the Myanmar. How do you think about one-sided international news is more severe or local conflict between the international issue? Yeah. I have another question. How do you think about the hate speech spread among the Buddhist religious group? How do you think about hate speech among the Buddhist religious group?
The first problem in Burma, Buddhist, Muslim, I was in Washington, and I express those Buddhists should imagine each Muslim's shoulder, Buddha remain there, protect them. Visualize like that. I express that. And in the meantime, practical level, I think since then, a few occasions, meeting with Aung San Suu Kyi, I mentioned that. And she should do something. Then she told me, difficult situation. The Burmese military leaders, some involved. So things are very complicated, difficult, she told me. So now, my view is we have to think fundamental level, humanity. Now, one encouraging thing is, now some scientists, they say we are social animal. So any social animal, individual's life depend on rest of the community. So basically we are social animal, therefore basic human nature is more compassionate. And also practically, you see, more compassionate mind here, physical health much better. And too much anger, suspicion here, very bad for our health. So we are not talking about religion or Buddha or Jesus Christ or these things. It's simply everyone want happy life, or including, a healthy body. A healthy body. Now these days I'm expressing, you see, from kindergarten, you see, we should include teaching to kindergarten level, up to university level, beside hygiene of physical, we must combine hygiene of emotion. So I feel the basic human nature is positive. But it's an existing education system, not much thinking, these inner value. The modern education is from Europe. So European sort of tradition, religion, just a faith, God, God, God. There is no tradition of, the transforming our emotion. So the way transform our emotion is use our intelligence, knowledge, not just faith. So now in this respect, India, over 3,000 years, they which concept of ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence, and in order to carry non-violence, you must respect other. So there is the concept of karuna. Karuna means compassion. So for this, in over 1,000 years, this country have they sort of already developed some kind of we call meditation, single-pointed meditation and analytical meditation in this country. So Buddha, Mahavira, Jain, teacher. Oh, teacher. Mari, founder of Jainism, Mahavira, follow that 1,000-year-old Indian tradition, ahimsa. Then after that, Buddha come. Again, you follow the mainly Indian tradition, non-violence. And then karuna, compassion. Although these Indian tradition also use different philosophical views. Many traditions of this country believe God, creator. But many traditions, like Jainism, Jain, and Buddhism, no creator, but rather self-creation. So in a philosophical field, there is differences, but all carry same message of love. Not only Indian tradition, I believe they later in Middle East, Christian, Judaism, and Islam, all I think related with ancient Indian thought. So, therefore, all religion carry the message of love. And sometimes I use the word, all these religion is religion of human being. So all human beings' religion emphasizes best quality of human being, that is human love. And use different philosophical views. Some say there's God. And that's also very nice. When they describe God, they're full of love. So Jesus Christ, the Son of God, you see, show loving kindness. And similarly, all these, the founder of these different religions, all, you see, carry the main message is loving kindness. And the method, some say there's God. Now, as I already mentioned, when they describe God, infinite love. So we all children of that kind of Father. God is our, according to the creation, God as the creator. Then, you see, the concept is our Father, God, is infinite love. So we all human beings, children of that kind of Father. So, if you strictly thinking these lines, then people who follow Christianity, they say no way to fight each other, to kill each other. All created by one God, as our Father. Then, non-theistic religion, such as Jainism and Buddhism, self-creation, everything depends on your own action. If you carry positive action, helping other, restrain harming other, that's good karma. Good karma brings good result, happy life. So all these different religious traditions use different method, different philosophy, but all same goal, to promote compassionate human society. So we really need, look, you see, among Buddhists, the follower of same teacher, Lord Buddha, but different philosophy. So particularly in the Nalanda tradition, you see, there are major different sort of philosophical views. But all, you see, carry the same message of ahimsa, non-violence, and compassion. So different philosophy is necessary in order to different people who have different mental disposition. Even twin, same parent, emotional level, some differences. So we need different way of approach. The aim is same. Try to become more compassionate human being. Okay. So this is about Burma. So it is sort of very clear we need different philosophy because so many different sort of mental disposition. Okay. So the Buddhists must respect the Muslims. Very important.
And Your Holiness, you talk about the importance of compassion and how everybody wants a happy life. I think much of what they encounter includes people who are filled with hate, and that becomes difficult. And Qasim, I wonder if you could share your story.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Holiness, for giving us some of your time. Being here the past couple of days with these youth leaders from different parts of the world have made me realize how lucky my country has been that we don't have a lot of religious divide or we don't have a lot of tribes. However, there's a problem that I think that may lead to a lot of divide, to hatred, and to probably extremism, which is this divide between marginalized communities that have been marginalized throughout history for years and years. So I'm trying to give some of my time to those marginalized communities, to talk with them about debate, about dialogue, about public speaking, and to give them to give a voice to those voiceless, and to actually spend some of my time being with them and listening to their concerns. But I remember 2 or 3 years ago, I was in a marginalized community, given a training sessions to young high schoolers, and the topic. Tunisia. Given a session to young people, and the topic that we were discussing is how can we develop our own country after the revolution. And I remember one young man, he was 16 years old. He was telling me, "What country are you talking about? Is it Tunisia, the country that have marginalized me and my parents for years? Or is it Tunisia, the country that I have to walk every morning 5 kilometers on my feet? Or is it the country where every winter the roof of my school would fall down on our heads?" So that was really a pivotal moment in my life that made me realize that the least that I can do is to actually give some of my time to listen to them, to talk to them, and to hopefully reinstill hope and compassion in a better future and in a better country. So my question is, Your Holiness, is how can we help those people who have been marginalized regain faith and hope in their country? Thank you.
Now here, I think basically I have a few commitments. Number one commitment, I consider I'm just one of 7 billion human beings. I'm just a human being. I come from land of snow, but on my face, any sort of sign, something different, more hair here, and perhaps a little sort of horn here. No, we are same, isn't it? So it is very important. I think, as I mentioned earlier, a child, age 5, 6, 7, they don't care what is different nationality, different faith. Play together. Now, once we join school education, then we emphasis, supposed to see more sort of clear knowledge about reality. They then make differences, nationality, different religion, and same sort of nationality, same sort of religion, but the family background then, and counting wealth, wealthy family, more respect, poor, like that. So all these, at the time when we are very young, we don't care. We play together. The education, we very much emphasis on secondary level of differences, neglect about oneness of human being. That now not much sort of emphasis. So I feel now the reality, today's world, as India next decide Afghanistan problem. Even same religion, Muslim, but Shia and Sunni, some problem. Then Middle East, again Christian, Muslim, among Muslim, Shia, Sunni problem. All these, we too much emphasis on secondary level of differences. So now time comes, we must, so in education field, we must emphasize entire human being, our same human community. In previous time, small community, their own village and your own sort of small group. Now today's reality, whole world, like one human community. America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Latin America, each country's future depend on rest of the world. So actually we are same human community now. So, and then if we, one time in South Africa, I visited one family, Native African. Then I told white people there, more sort of developed. You Native African, we are same. So you should make effort to reach same level. Then the response from that person, oh, we can't match them because our brain is more inferior. I shocked. I argued with him. No. If we go to a brain specialist to ask any differences of brain due to color, definitely no. So then I sort of discuss with that person. We Tibetan also, you see, experienced some Chinese, what's the chauvinism, Chinese, you see, who consider Tibetan mind is backward. So Han, more advanced. Some Chinese, also narrow-minded, some Chinese expressed that. I told him, but the only difference is opportunity. When we have the same opportunity, Tibetan brain also is equally is a match with Chinese brain. Then finally, is that person with a long, long sigh, he told me, now he believes same brain. At that moment, I really sort of feeling tremendous sort of what's the relief. At least I changed one person's way of thinking. So now we, as I mentioned earlier, you see, we all same human being. We all have, how's it? Usually, some people coughing one sneeze, say, God bless, God bless. But where is God? Nobody knows. So now important, I think, if we seriously think today's world, material, highly developed with the help of science and technology, and also education. In as the previous generations, they are really facing sometimes starvation on these things. And now that, generally speaking, I think overcome. But then, a lot of problem which we are facing is essentially our own creation. That's very clear. And all these, the ultimate source is too much emphasis, we and they. A lack of sense of oneness of human being, including different religious faith or nationality. So now that, through education, we should change that. Education, the basic human nature, more compassionate, that basic human value, through education, must, because of the preserve or further strengthening. So I feel the existing education is not adequate to bring a student with a healthy mind. Education, I think, human brain related with education related with human brain. Then human compassion is related with our warm heart. So this must go combine. Intelligence must sort of combine with warm-heartedness. That's existing education, modern education, not adequate. Those education, school, which related with Christian or something like that, is that they simply say God. If you ask, where is God? No answer. So just pray God. It's not much useful. We should include children, student. I think every student, I think, have the same experience. Teacher in their class always showing smile and showing genuine sense of concern of the students' long future. The students loves that. The teacher may be very scholar, big scholar, great scholar, and expert, but without smile, and showing a negative face and threat student. I don't think the student happy to attend that class. Very clear. If may I say so, I always smile. So many people loves me. If I remain, Dalai Lama. then those only, you see, the small people, they then Dalai Lama or something very sacred. But will not be popular. Smile, smile. I consider, as I mentioned earlier, we are same. No differences. So immediately, you see, getting close feeling. Wherever I go, I always see acting like another human being. I never consider I am something different. No. So, according to my own experience, now it is very important, you see, to develop sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. The differences are secondary level. Even one individual, the mental level, there are differences. Morning, thinking something, some certain idea. Then afternoon, some different sort of idea. So we cannot sort of quarrel. The afternoons being, you see, criticize, mornings being silly. We are same same person, isn't it? Change always there. Always happen, right? Change. So, like that, you see people who have different view, different religious faith, different nationality, different language, different culture. Basically, the same way they were born, same, isn't it? No difference of color. And the end of their life, dying, also same. No differences. So now, since a lot of problem developed, too much emphasis on differences. So the only remedy is go deeper way. We are same human being. We have to live together on this planet. And then on top of that, also you see some new reason. Global warming. Some specialists say after 7-8 decades, world may become too hot. So now world itself, now their life is something limited. So now, better we live next few decades happily, with sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. And the small differences through dialogue, through talk, not use weapon. So in this world, I think I usually saying this 21st century should be century of dialogue in order to create peaceful world. Differences there, always there. So whenever we find some differences, the both human brothers, sisters, you see, we both have the responsibility to build happy, healthy humanity. So only thing is only differences through dialogue, not weapon. Sometimes I also feel the concept of war, I think, very much related with feudal system. In ancient time, kings, queens, and also religious leader, all power hold some kind of totalitarian system at that time. So they give order, go there, fight, kill them. Now today, democratic sort of society. So each soldier loves their own life. Nobody can order, go there, sacrifice your own life to kill other. It's outdated, old thinking. So therefore, I think through education now, we emphasis on more, combine basic human value, warm-heartedness, and sense of community. And then plus brain, including science, technology, these things, combine these two. So I feel, firstly, the main thing is we should aim to create happy humanity. For that, sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings, and that, you see, the education, you see, should emphasis on that level. So,
I think one of the issues that a lot of our youth leaders face in trying to follow, I think, the wisdom that you're providing, is that they come up against hate and hopelessness with the people that they interact with. And sometimes this has become how the whole nation views itself at a national level. And I wonder if I could ask our 3 more of our youth leaders to give you an example of that, because it's something that you speak so powerfully about. That is a daily trial for them. And Dami, maybe you could talk about your experiences in Northeast Nigeria.
Your Holiness, thank you very much for this opportunity. So my work basically is to try and promote peace and love. So we do that through trying to change people's thinking, like the way you said, and to do it through humanitarian work too. So we not just promote peace, we also make sure that we attend to their needs, so that their health needs, or maybe if they are starving, we try and provide food for them. And also to promote love and unity. But what we've encountered a lot of times, what I've encountered a lot of times is that people are actually hopeless. They are hopeless about peace. So they refer, because in 2014, an issue happened in my country. About over 200 girls were actually taken from school, the Chibok girls, and they were not returned.
Oh, yes. Huh?
And there was so much awareness and advocacy that the government should actually do something, and we should actually bring them back. And not much was actually done. And by the time they could recover these girls, some of them are already pregnant, some of them are radicalized, some of them even loved terrorism. So this has made a lot of people in my country and communities very hopeless. So they are not really interested in having peace again. So whenever we want to try and promote peace, change their thinking, that let there be oneness. Let's forget about our religion, let's forget about our differences. So they make references to cases where they would expected a whole lot of peace to happen, and they didn't get it. So my question is to you, that how do we promote hope? How do we make people who have been hopeless about peace, how do we make them hopeful, and to make sure that they are focused on building peace, so that my country can be free from conflicts and violence? Thank you.
And
I feel each place some differences, some difficulties, and tackle that more difficult, I feel. The fundamental level, our existing education is something wrong, not adequate. So we have to think, education system, they educate people, not only just the development of brain, but keeping, or brain should use warm-heartedness. And then sense of brotherhood, sisterhood automatically come. So these small problem. You see, the existing education, so-called modern education is not much talk, these things. I feel that. So the education more complete, not only material life, but internal peace. And that very much based on sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, this through education, not through church, but through education. If we start now, the other day I met some American scientists and educations, some. I mentioned they should organize some meeting in America. Many big universities or a leader and some scholar should convene some meeting, then eventually should approach UNESCO or something, United Nations. And then, you see, can change existing our education system. Education system, only material value, not talking about our inner value. Generally, you see, people consider when we talk about inner value, then they immediately feel religious talk. No. Religion, talking something, heaven, nirvana, moksha, nirvana, kasadimindi.
Salvation. Salvation.
Salvation. These are a next life. These are religious matter. The topic we are talking is academic subject. How to create healthy body. In order to create healthy body, the healthy mind, very relevant. And also, see, happy family. One happy family with sense of community. Then one family, 10 family, 100 family, 1,000 family, that is community. So now today, according to today's reality, whole world are part of one big human community. So through education, I feel education is very important. Whenever we find some difficulties, Buddhists pray Buddha, and Christian pray to God. Not much help. We must ourselves, you see, must make effort. All these problems due to our destructive emotion, anger, that self-centered attitude, me. Then, you see, create concept of we and they. And in order to gain something, we destroy other. Don't care others' right. So, we really need oneness of 7 billion human beings. As a human being, when I saw some human being dying, killing, if you truly keep human feeling, then you really feel very uncomfortable. Some African, and beside human created sort of violence or division, but also due to climate, too much, sometimes too hot, and starvation, sometimes too much water. All these same human being. So it's that thinking, your own sort of way of life, inner peace is concerned, very important. Think more others, then your self-centered attitude reduce. Self-centered attitude, selfish, narrow-minded selfish, is the source of fear, anxiety, then finally anger. Then here also you see quantum physics. Quantum physics now say there is big differences, appearance and reality. Appearance, things exist as appears. But if you analyze, things does not exist as appears. Deeper level we can't find. Then finally, observer. So long observer there, things there. No longer observer, difficult to say. That is quantum physics. Now my Indian friend,
Rajaramana.
Rajaramana. I think several years ago. He mentioned to me, quantum physics in the West, something new. In this country, 2,000 years ago, already developed. That's true. So when I discuss with scientists, physicists about quantum physics, then sometimes I feel that subject very familiar. Because one of our subject to study is already there. So sometimes I think my negative emotion, maybe when I discuss with scientists about quantum physics, then of course I respect them. But in deep inside, I feel I know better. So now some student, university student, who study quantum physics, now some of them realize the quantum physics, quantum physics, nothing exists as appears. The reality is much dependent on other factor, not by itself. So our negative emotion, such as anger and attachment, is very much based on appearances. That appearance is also something absolute. Now, understanding quantum physics, that grasping things something independently exists there, good, absolute good, bad, absolute bad, now that is reduced. That is the basis of our negative emotion. The 2,000 years ago, some Nalanda master, 2,000 Mali, the last 2,000 years, you see, number of scholars, Buddhist psychologists, they clearly mention that. So the destructive emotion very much based on appearances, absolute exist. Once you know there is nothing to exist absolute way, or the grasping thing reduce. That's the basis of anger, attachment, that automatically reduce. Like that. So education, very important, very useful in order to develop peace of mind.
Your Holiness.
Two things. One, emotional thing, altruism. One, we all same human being. We have to live together on this planet. So that automatically reduce the self-grasping way. I. That's one source of emotional problem. Think other, your mind open. Think just yourself, and then look this side, suspect, hit this side, suspect. If you have altruistic attitude, everywhere is positive, something positive. And then on top of that, the negative emotion, very much based on wrong appearances. Combine these two things, you can reduce destructive emotion.
So I think one of the challenges that these young leaders face is how deeply embedded the negative emotions are in communities that have been in conflict for a long time. So I'd like to ask first Lorena and then Tahani to add their voices.
Well, Your Holiness, what you say about education reminds me of something I learned from indigenous people in the Amazon. We were
Amazon, yeah.
We were talking about education, and they said, we teach for life, not for work. And that was one of the things that moved me the most in the inside. And that made me, in part, who I am today. I remember a story. I remember once in 2016, I went with my family to one of the poorest areas in Colombia, El Chocó, on the Pacific coast. And this area is is inhabited by Afro-Colombian and indigenous groups. It's beautiful. It has the Pacific Sea, it has the jungle, mangroves. And, well, we took a day tour with my family, my sister, my father, my mom, and there was a local. He was African, well, Afro-descendant. And we spent the day together, just normally. And then in the end, we played a bit, and we exchanged numbers, because he was my age. And then when I told my mom after he left that we were about to meet, we said we would meet in Bogota, which is my city, my mom said, Lorena, there's limits. And I felt, so after she said that, I felt like the child you're saying, because I couldn't understand. Why was she saying that? And after a moment of thinking about it, I asked her, do you mean that I can only relate to him or to these people in their own context because you're ashamed that people back in Bogota see me sharing and being friends with him? Of course, I'm not blaming my mom because she's just the result of the values of my society. Colombia is a country. So these type of divisions have generated a lot of hatred and a lot of mistrust between people who are different in terms of race, of class, and politics and income. So my question is, like, how are you able, and because of the differences, people hate each other a lot, and they have a lot of resentment. So my question is, how are you able to promote an inner exploration of this oneness and of this inner growth and spiritual connection with each other, even if we're surrounded by negativity, but negative forces that teach us to separate ourselves from each other?
And Tahani, if I could ask you to follow on with that.
Well, I came from Syria, and for the last 8 years, we have been living inside an atrocious war. A war that left scars inside every Syrians, and every Syrian individuals and every Syrian family. And during that war, I tried to build bridges inside my community by bringing youth from different culture and religious backgrounds to work together, be implemented with dialogue tools, to plan and implement social initiatives to their communities. But I had main concern is that with all that sorrow, with all that hurt, how can we heal our collective memory?
Your Holiness, can I
without
just...
those murder I'm teasing him. So without D, just this. What did they do?
Your Holiness, I forgot to mention one thing. So after I learned these things about this different type of education, I decided to start changing to education through travel. So I believe, and I've seen, that people change and take off masks when we're in nature, when we're in natural environments, when you go out of the city and meet each other. So that's why I think one of the changes we can do in education is traveling and meeting others in different places.
Now I feel there is not my choice, not my choice, I mean not other choice, whether existing situation is satisfy you or not. There's too many suffering, killing. Even religion use for division and killing. That's today's situation. We cannot bear this situation. And then think more deeper way. Then, as I mentioned earlier, the basic human nature is more compassionate. So, there is real hope through education, not through prayer. I think prayer, over 1,000 years, pray. Sometimes I feel, you see, for example, Shia and Sunni, both pray to Allah. Then I think Allah may confuse, his blessing should go Shia side or Sunni side. So I think both, the Buddha or Muhammad, all these great teachers, if you see, we have some opportunity to meet them, then ask them, please bring in our community, in our world. Then they may say, who created violence? Not by God. If violence created by God, then we have to ask God. But violence we created. So we have the responsibility, and also there is method or there's a way to reduce violence. So when we face some problem, pray to God is not much practical. So we must think ourselves, isn't it? Now, for example, we Tibetan, you see, because of our sort of lot of problem with Chinese, so sometimes the people feel the Tibetan and Chinese something sort of a distance. That's wrong. The Chinese also human being, we also human being, and geographically we have to live side by side. So since 2000,
2008.
74, we decided not seeking separation, not seeking independence. It's much better. Live together, side by side, harmoniously. So the reality, independence, sometimes is just political word. The reality, now for example, India and Pakistan, the economy field, so they much better live together and share each other. This independence, just concept, reality in economy, and now environment, heavily interdependent. So we, a lot of problem or unrealistic thinking. So through education, that unrealistic sort of imagination, that should reduce through education, through awareness. And that also is the existing situation. Create a lot of problem. If there is no way to overcome this problem, then better to relax. But if we think, since this problem is our own creation, so we must have because of the potential to reduce this problem. So youth, very important. This is the beginning of 21st century. I think if you, young people, with deeper awareness, wider awareness, more holistic thinking, then, and with effort, then after, say, 20 years, 30 years, I think world can be different through education, not through prayer. Okay, what argument now? Do you have some argument? I love argument. You know, Nalanda tradition, we very much emphasize logical approach. Even Buddha's own word, we raise question, why? That's important. We never say yes, no. Even Buddha's own word, why? That's a Nalanda tradition. Really wonderful. Oh, take
this. Eric, did you want to make a final comment before we take a tea break and let His Holiness drink his tea?
I think not necessarily tea break. Just while we are talking, eating,
okay.
Drinking. No?
Your Holiness, thank you so much. I have learned a lot. But one thing still in my heart, in the situation I mentioned earlier, how do I go beyond my own self-hatred? Because when I see somebody that killed my mother, this bad thing comes up. How do I heal myself and go beyond that?
Now, we should utilize our intelligence. Someone killed your mother. Then, in order to sort of revenge, try to kill these people, that creates more enemy. Try to talk with the killer, and you show patience and forgiveness, then that person may become also the friend of yourself. It's much better. One person who killed your friend, your mother, and try to similar way to revenge, then endless violence. Isn't it? I feel. Today's enemy, these enemy not from birth, but later, due to certain factor, you see, they have become like murderer. But there is possibility, therefore, there is possibility if we create more positive atmosphere, that today is your enemy, next year may become your best friend. I think our own sort of experience, Chinese, we always consider them as a human brothers, sisters. We never try to build hatred. So then, number of Chinese now become our friend. That's good. And the recent sort of event, Pakistan and India, I think Indian Prime Minister mentioned India, land of Buddha, and this is showing some kind of more peaceful attitude. It is right. I think when we make decision, we have to think every side, every aspect. If we go this way, what kind of consequences? If go this way, what kind of consequences? Then analyze. Then non-violence is always bring some positive result. Violence always create more violence, suffering. And thinking deeper level, we human being, human nature is more compassionate because we are a social animal. I think the scientific sort of finding is very powerful. I feel. So sometimes, oh, yes, T.
Please flip the group so the next session group is come in. And then session you would
I see.
So please flip the group.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When I look television,
Yeah.
when look about this generosity news, too many problems. Then I really feel fat, fed up. What's what?
Fed up.
Hmm?
Say that?
Fed up.
Yeah.
So then I look animal. The tigers, these, of course, very sort of also wrathful, eating other people. But just when they feel hungry, and then attack, not like we human being. We human being
Always hungry.
Creates a lot of problem. And you realize this intelligence. I think this intelligence, not for creation of problem, but creation reduce problem. That's the very purpose of human brain. We just opposite. Very sad.
Did you get some?
Yeah.
Did you get some? Help yourself. Should I? Your Holiness, we've brought our second group forward, and we wanted to shift the conversation a little bit. We talked just now about all the divides that exist in countries that are affected by violence and conflict. And we wanted to shift the conversation to how to build the kind of inclusive societies and communities that lead to more sustained peace. And with the knowledge that it's so often the women and the youth who are left out, who don't have a voice or who are not included. And so I thought maybe, hey, we could start with you to say a few words, and we'll take comments. Okay. Hey.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Your Holiness, for this opportunity. I'm Hey from Myanmar. So I am a medical doctor by training. So after my graduation, I worked in ethnic areas, conflict-affected areas, and dispute area in Myanmar. So I also work as a researcher. At one point, I had a conversation with the ethnic groups in my region. And there was a story where an ethnic soldier was trying to hold a grenade in his hand, and he was trying to play the pin of the grenade. That's just in and out, in and out.
Like an instrument.
Yes, just a bomb. And then there was a girl came, and so he was distracted. And then he was not able to put the pin in again. So that he, in order to prevent it from exploding the others, towards the other, he actually put the grenade in his tummy, in his stomach, and then he was trying to do like this, and so he was exploded. And this experience was in a tea shop, near a tea shop. So a lot of people saw that, and the girl herself was traumatized a lot about that. And this was not the only story. There are stories like that, because people killed, they are left in front of them, and things like that. There are a lot of mental issues, psychological problems in the regions. And once I met a young boy in a training, and he was not able to communicate his feelings. So I asked him why he was not communicating with us. And I had to do a bit, and then later I found out that his family and his neighbors always told him that he will not be able to do whatever he wants in his life. He went to be a singer. They said that you will not be able to do this. You will not. This kind of conflicts will not let you to do anything you want. So because of that, he became very shy, and he was not able to communicate with his emotions and feelings and anything at all. So I think in a society, like you said, the global warming, everything, a lot of the problems came into our life, in the future, and young people are not really empowered to face with these futures. And it's made me really sad to see this way. And so I do the encouragement to include young people in decision-making process. And I also noticed that being humble is really important, because inclusion of young people in decision-making, as I do, I felt a lot of challenges with the people being not so humble. And so it's very difficult to communicate with our challenges to them. So if you have some advices.
mi shengi da semshu cha she yo den kashi buji pe na dan de kuran chenbu cha na she dang gen chi yin sla du pama bin ja de zo ngang zo ka nye de na chu de de sam ba la kran mi yu gu tu ye yo mar se re bo de la wal ten yan ko pet semshu cha mi nam do zo mu yun du ge ji shi ro ma chi ba de ka nye che dos de du ta chi kuran zo ji zo na lo su da nyam do mi shin da yum do dro be ka la ya bo chi ni ji do ti che tu ya ge ta chi ta bi shi ta bu ti kan des che kuran di semshu ba re de le ga chi yes.
So if I may, I would like to have some tips to educate people to be more humble and more open to each other.
지내 지도나 저지 민념중 제대 개점을 하셨어. 근데 디지털 다시 그소래 로종의 돈에 신용 배배 돈에 디 민념중 그소래 수요야 근데 답지라고 간절히 쉬어요나 어디서 그럼 남았어요.
And Your Holiness, it's in addition to youth, Mariam, maybe you could go next.
Your Holiness, I'm from Iraq. I want to talk about a situation that it happened to me personally. As you know, Iraq is a diverse country, and it's been a lot. It has been a lot of problems and violence going on. And I remember in 2007 to 2008, when I was only 14 years old, I was forced to wear hijab, because I was told that if I don't wear it, then I will be killed by the terrorist groups from the Qaeda outside the, inside our region where I live. And I remember a moment where I was under violence, because the terrorist groups and the army were trying to fight with each other, and we were inside the school. We were under the violence. It was something very terrifying. And I remember when everything was settled down, I had to go out, and I saw my dad was crying, and he tried to hold me, and he was so happy that he sees me, I'm alive, after all of this violence and the war that happened. And so my question is, how can we help those young teenagers and widows that's been affected by terrorists to move forward after being affected by the ISIS or the terrorist groups?
And Your Holiness, maybe we can ask Tarek to contribute as well.
I came from Libya.
Yeah.
It's okay. I found myself in this situation at July 2016. Early in the morning, I was going to my university, and in the road, there is like armed group. They stopped me, and in just 1 minute, I felt the gun on my head, and this guy says like, "Get out of the car, or I will kill you." Then I just follow him. So I spent like 3 days with them, arrested. So in this time, I just I don't believe that if Allah exists or not, but in that moment exactly, I just decide to choose to believe. So after that, I decided to work with youth to try to promote the peace. So my question to you is, how can we use the compassion to try to include more youth to work with us? Thank you.
Difficult question. Now, in certain case, they're under the particular circumstances, you have to, if something you see really carrying a knife or something, or then only thing is run away, or take one stone. Otherwise, you see, that's not my choice. Not other choice. Your life is precious and should survive. In 1959, March 10th, the things become out of control. Since 10th March 1959, I try my best to cool down both sides, Chinese and Tibetan side. Both determined to fight. I try. Next 1 week, completely fail. Then I thought, oh, situation now cannot handle peaceful way. So, lastly, I received one message from Chinese side. The Summer Palace, Nobulinga, there are few blocks of sort of building. So where you live, that should mark, and they will protect. So either way, protect or target. So then finally, I escaped. So, you see, I practice escape rather than peace, 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 or compassion, compassion. No. Oh, escaped. Then, with the feeling, or I can see next day or not. Real danger. But then, next morning, I reach some area from little bit distance from Lhasa. So then, no immediate danger. So best thing is escape. If you have the sort of possibility, is to change other person's mind. Otherwise, better escape. Like that. So we should act according to the actual circumstances. In any case, you see, we should not allow the room of hatred feeling. This we have sort of, we have power. Or physically escape, but the anger, negative feeling, we can control. Recently, there was some similar situation, 1959. Some Tibetan start demonstration. Then I felt, oh, now Chinese certainly going to suppress them. And then at that moment, I visualize the Chinese local authority who give order to suppress these Tibetan. I visualize them, and then practice of give and take. Take means through imagination. Take their anger, their suspicion. Take myself, and my sort of patience and compassion. Give them. Using that practice, there's no way to help the situation, but at least very helpful to keep my mind peaceful. Okay. So, 어디 2008, like that. That's my own experience. You see, mentally, you see, thinking that way, although no help to solve the actual problem, but at least very helpful to keep peace of mind. Like that.
Your Holiness, I think Varial has a very similar question along those same lines.
Yeah. So when I start, does this work?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, thank you. I'm really honored to be sitting next to you. I had a great moment. I want to thank you for the great opportunity. I was really, really inspired by all you guys' stories. So you guys know that the Arab Spring started from Tunisia, and we're starting to be a role model for all Arab communities. Before the revolution, we had no knowledge of human rights. We just lived there, like eating, sleeping, working, doing daily stuff. But I lived a personal story that my mom was constantly harassed in her work because she was wearing the headscarf. I had also a couple of people of my family being arrested for going to the mosque or reading certain religious books. But after the revolution and after all the protests, we have more freedom of speech. And we are advancing also in women's rights. I work as a women empowerment activist, and I aim to create a community of women that are bold, confident, but also change makers, and who can make a positive change in the community. I also want to empower everyone that identify herself as a female, and that includes trans women and lesbian as well. So my question for you is, how can we address the needs of people who are minority in their community, and they feel excluded from the community, such as the LGBTQ+ community? Thank you.
And Your Holiness, I'm going to ask Rowan to go ahead as well.
Now, since we not seeking separation from China, we want to live together within the People's Republic of China. In the meantime, we ask them, since we have our own language, our own cultural heritage, and these different cultural heritage also related with the geography, environment. So it suits the people so worthwhile to preserve our own cultural heritage. So politically remain as a part of People's Republic of China. But since Chinese constitution itself, you see, mentioned is in different places as a Tibetan area. So we all Tibetan in different part of China should have same right to preserve our own culture, our own language. Some Chinese hardliner, they try to eliminate Tibetan culture, Tibetan language also. So nowadays, you see, things are changing. The number of Chinese now really showing Tibetan culture, and mainly Buddhism, which we practice. So now things are changing. So such work, we need patience, and meantime, determination, and believe truth. That's important. So China, very powerful, militarily powerful. No? But our strength comes from truth. Firstly, politically, we are not seeking independence. Meantime, we try to preserve our own certain right that Chinese constitution itself mentioned. Another point, if we just say about the similar convention, that it mentioned, you see, inner Tibet and outer Tibet. Outer Tibet, more or less, independence. Inner Tibet is a part of China. So if we emphasize independence of Tibet, then only outer Tibet. Then outer Tibet population around more than 2 million, about 2 millions. Then combine both inner Tibet, outer Tibet, then our population around 6 to 7 millions. So Chinese constitution itself recognized as a Tibetan area. So good. We're not living from People's Republic of China. Remain in People's Republic of China. But those areas which Chinese constitution itself recognized as a Tibetan area should have same right to preserve our own culture, our own language. So mutual benefit. On top of that, another sort of positive thing is now more and more Chinese now following Buddhism, and particularly Tibetan Buddhism. So we can help them about Buddha Dharma, Buddhism. And then they can help us money. Tibet, a lot of damage done by Chinese. So let them spend more money to rebuild, including these monastery, about 6,000 monastery. Marbe, about more than 6,000 monastery destroyed. So these, the local people very faithful. Of course, logically, Chinese people love their own culture. Similarly, we also love our own culture. And then, the practical level, I notice Tibetan language is the best language to explain precisely about sophisticated ancient Indian thought, Buddhist philosophy. So, I notice this is about psychology. When we discuss with scientists, Tibetan language, I found best language to express precisely. Because before Buddhism translate into Tibetan language, very primitive. So while translation carrying on, the new Sanskrit word, then they create new Tibetan word. So now, result, Tibetan word, Tibetan language, very most closest language with Sanskrit. So therefore, now Sanskrit, that language. Some scholar maybe, but among the living language, Tibetan language is the best language to explain about this sophisticated Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist psychology, Buddhist logic, like that. So therefore, it is mutual benefit to Chinese. We can help them. To us, the city, we get more money to rebuild. Already, many new constructions in Tibet already have. So good. After all, Chinese, same human being. We also same human being. And historically, 7th century, Tibetan king married with Chinese princess. So close link there. Sometimes I jokingly sort of express the Tibetan emperor, 7th century, married with Chinese princess. So certainly he enjoyed Chinese food. But when he sort of noticed the Chinese letter, he found too complicated. So he preferred create our own script, Tibetan script, copy from Indian language, Devanagari, and alphabet. So now today, Tibetan language is, I think, best language to explain about Buddhist philosophy, particularly Nalanda tradition. So,
Your Holiness, your story really underscores the importance of your story, emphasizes the importance of people being included, the Tibetans being included with rights, and also how sometimes it can take a long time. I'd like to ask Luis to come in with his question, and then we'll go to Rowan.
I think basically any small community have to sort of think the larger community in economy, environment, and education, many fields, you see, close connection with the bigger community. So the separate small community, just think oneself, that I think too extreme. Think the greater communities also the situation and remain close connection. Meantime, something your own special thing and should keep. Like a Tibetan refugee community. 1959 we came, and 60 I asked Indian government, you see, to create separate Tibetan school, because you see we have our own language, and with that certain knowledge. Then Pandit Nehru happily supported like that, and all the expenses met by Indian government, like that. So meantime, modern education, we learn the modern education, plus our own unique thing must keep, like that.
You know, actually, I'd like to ask Rowan, because you've talked about those early years and what it was like when you left. And Rowan has a question similar.
Yeah. So thank you, Your Holiness, for having us. You've been an inspiration for me for quite a while now. So Libya was living in a box before 2011. We did not even know who lived in our country, like the different ethnicity that lived in Libya. But sadly, when it comes to conflict, women and youth pay a big price. You have the youth are being the fuel of this conflict, and you have the women suffering silently because of this conflict. Unfortunately, after the conflict ends, there's the peace-building process that follows. And when the peace-building process follows, culturally speaking from my culture, women are excluded, and youth are also excluded. And this is still something that us women and young people strive to change. I believe that women and youth have a big role to play to build peace and sustain peace. Because if you do not include almost...
비아디 저 가서 크란스 이동 죽지 봐도 크란스 롱버디 수익 경구에다 내주 가리 미시라시다 마싱이라고 내장 치차디 요시네 다든지 디제라 아니 다 생두다 저 총연도 좀 받아 양게 망주의 대표면다宣게르샤스 디인디다직 디제라지 거절에 시디 야 중요하다 디 탑시 집에 걸라니 premier 리스큐바다宣게르스 방법이야 디 레구네 파직 수조치에서 디 군도 맞추에서 디 간에 방법이 스팅문에 지나 디 코나 그래서 비메다宣게니가 디 나는 거 수고해지려셨어.
So I'm interested in personal stories that reflect the role of women of the peace-building process. And I'm quite curious how Tibetan women or young people of Tibet dealt with the peace-building process after Tibet was exiled from China. If you can share a particular story that stuck in your mind, something that touched you as a leader.
저한테 벽이 벽에다 벽이宣유리 기대주 지금 그 소리 그 시대 야 공부에다 시대 주의해야 되는데 그 털라 지금 랭귀지도 간데간데 제는 다음 지금 믹스
I think here basically I respect all religions, However, among the Hindus, the caste system, I totally against. That I believe due to feudal system, they created caste system, I feel, in order to dominate, or in order to dominate the poorer section of people. Similarly, in India also, is some discrimination, female and male, and Muslim world. Sorry, I to say, the Muslim world, female, little sort of discrimination. In that respect, Buddha make equal male and female. The monk's ordination, he give equal nun's ordination, monk's ordination, monk's bhikshu, nun's bhikshuni, equal right. So I think in Tibet also, generally, there is no discrimination. Kasa chuti, pomeyimji.
The gender equality.
Oh.
There's.
Oh. So, I think with Tibet, no problem. Female. Now, after we came to India, I think about 1960, later part of 60, and beginning of 70, I appealed all monastery, some monastery traditionally just to carry some was a ritual. That outdated. Now should study. Meantime, all nunnery also same study. So now, recent years, we already have the female scholars. So equal. For study or for knowledge, now equal. So, since Buddha gave us equal, so the recent centuries in Tibet, no nunnery carry this sort of serious study. So now this change, all carry same way. So, I think Tibet case, there is no, traditionally, no discrimination, right? Male and female. So I think because Buddha's teaching, mainly. Like that, in India also, is we equal. And student, also, I think, generally, I think every level equal, very good, no problem. So Muslim world, as I mentioned earlier, you see, a little discrimination. I think in India, now, after a few days, I'm going to one Impuka, after the Sikh temple, Sadaji's temple. So traditionally, among the Sadaji, no discrimination. Caste is no caste system. And also, you see, male and female, I think equal. So I'm thinking there is one opportunity. I'm telling Indian friend, now religious leader should come out. The caste system is outdated. It is related with the feudal system. So we all same right. So the religious leader should come out, talk these things. So now, the Golden Temple, one sort of opportunity, many religious leaders come, and the Sikh tradition, as I mentioned, is a no discrimination. So that's wonderful. That must further because of boosting the Shukshata. Like that. So sometimes religious orthodox thinking. Sometimes I think necessary to a little change with permission from God.
And Your Holiness, you became a leader at a very young age.
Oh.
You became a leader at a very young age. So as all of the youth leaders think about their own leadership, but also how to include other young leaders, that becomes a challenge that I know you have ideas about, but I'd like to ask Luis to come in.
Yeah, Your Holiness, I'm from Venezuela, and for me, it's really a pleasure to be here with you. So I want to say thank you for this great opportunity. As you know, in Venezuela right now, we are in a not only in a political and economic crisis, but we are living a deep social crisis. As a young, for me, well, and I represent just one person of all the people that are working right now with local communities and creating social impact in Venezuela. But for me as a young, it was very difficult to start with social work because the reason was not the lack of motivation, the lack of passion or commitment. The reason was that in the context where I grew up in my country, in the rural communities, in main cities, the people don't believe that young can lead change and can be change makers and can lead processes in the communities. This changed for me 2016 when a person believed on my work and believed on me and gave me the opportunity to receive training and to receive abilities training and skills for create my own organization. In 2016, I created my own organization thanks to that opportunity that this person gave me. And that's why my work is associated with young empowerment and is associated with promote the young participation in processes in our communities. And we promote the involvement of young leaders in the achievement of sustainable development goals on Venezuela. My question is, what do you think or what do you understand as sustainable development, and how do you think we as young can contribute to achieve it? Thank you.
Because of Venezuela. Self-confidence may be such a way. Venezuela, now this moment is passing through some difficulties. No. Kasa khozu pomurtu kasako. Ka. Maduro sarve. Oh. So difficult. Something like dictator. Yeah, difficult. So I don't know. So you have, I mean, you yourself find ways, means to change these things. I don't know. I know it's difficult. Your whole nation facing some problem, difficulties. And similarly, a number of African states and some Latin American also is really facing problem. So in such period, I want to share on determination, willpower should keep, and believe truth. So with believe truth, you should carry your work honestly, truthfully. Then strength come, or power from truth come. Long run, power from gun is short, temporary. Power of truth remain long. So in this case, totalitarian system country, they are so honest, truthful. And then time passes, the power of weapon will reduce, cannot remain forever. Power of truth remain forever. This I usually telling people, Tibetan, the Chinese heavily depend on power of gun. We, power of truth. So for temporary power of gun is more decisive. But long run, power of truth remain forever. So that much I want to share with you. In detail, you should think, you should exploit. Explore. Okay.
Thank you.
Now I think lunch.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah.
Okay. Now lunch.
Yeah. Lunch. Your Holiness, thank you very much. We look forward to continuing the conversation tomorrow.
In order to carry normal function of brain, food is very important.
Exactly right. Thank you.